Hey guys, hello and welcome to a new episode of the Path to DevOps series. I'm Shiki and today we're going to continue our Terraform journey by, as I promised in the previous episode, linking the existing parent DNS zone with the child DNS zone that we're creating with our Terraform code. So, if this sounds fun and you want to see how you can link an existing resource which was not deployed through Terraform and is not managed by Terraform with a resource that you're going to deploy and manage through Terraform, then this video is for you, and let's jump straight into the action. As usual, I highly suggest following along because this is how you'll get the most experience out of this video. For your convenience, in the description at the bottom, if you scroll down, you'll find a link to my GitHub account, and in there I will add all the code that we write today for you to analyze and then follow along. That being said, this is what we have right now in our solution. We have a root DNS zone, which is called shiki.ro. This is the domain that I own. And using Terraform in the previous video, we've created a global DNS zone, which is called barbart.shiki.ro. And this is supposed to be a subdomain of the shiki.ro DNS zone. Now, the barbart.shiki.ro DNS zone is managed through Terraform, while shiki.ro is not. Somehow, we need to create a link between these two, and that link consists of a name server type record in the root DNS zone. So, what can we do in order to achieve this link? Well, there are two possible solutions which involve Terraform. The first one, option one, is called Terraform import. And this means that we bring the root DNS zone, shiki.ro, inside of Terraform, and then Terraform will manage it. Yeah, this is what the Terraform import command does. You take an existing resource and you import it into your Terraform state file and code. Now, the problem with this approach is that this means Terraform will be the governor of the lifecycle of my root DNS zone. So if I Terraform destroy my whole infrastructure, I will also lose my root DNS zone. And I don't really want that to happen. So while this is a good alternative, and while you might be using Terraform import throughout your career for various tasks, for this specific scenario, this isn't the best method. However, we have a different option, and this is option number 2. And in this case, we're going to bring the shiki.ro root DNS zone into Terraform, but only as a data object. So this means that Terraform will acknowledge the fact that our DNS zone exists outside of it, but will scrape some metadata off it. Stuff like its name, its resource group, its ID, and will be able, based on this data object, to interact with said resource. However, Terraform will not manage its lifecycle. And this is exactly what we're looking for. So let's jump into writing the code and getting this solution up and running. Here we are in Visual Studio Code on the Path to DevOps IAC repository in the main branch, which is exactly where we left off in the previous episode. Now, as I said, we're going to use Terraform data to import the root DNS zone into our Terraform code and configuration. And Terraform data is not a command. It's actually a block. It's an object that I have to write in the code. So for separation of concerns, because it's a data block, it's not a resource that I create, it's something external that I just get the metadata off of, I will create a separate file called data.tf. And in this data.tf file, I will hold all my data blocks in case there's different ones in the future that I need to depend on. So let's compose this data block. Data is the keyword, and then you have to give it a name. This is Azure RM underscore DNS underscore zone, because we're actually inheriting an existing DNS zone. Yeah, and I have to give it a name. I'm just going to say root, because it's the root DNS zone. Yeah, and you need to give some information about this resource for Terraform to take metadata out of it. So in our case, you need to give it the name, and it's going to be the name of the DNS zone shiki.ro, and you can take this name from the Azure portal. If I go to home, DNS zones, yeah, here you go, shiki.ro. So you can actually take the name from the Azure portal, and then I need to give it the resource group name. Yeah, and the resource group name also, I can take it from here, from the Azure portal. There we go, copy and paste, and I just have to put this into quotes. All right, this is it for the data block. Now Terraform will ingest information from this resource and I'll be able to reference in the code that I'm going to write. So what do I need to do now? Well, very simple. Into the main file, because we need to create a resource, we need to create a record in the root zone which references the name servers of the child that I'm creating. So this is the child or the subdomain that we're creating. And now we just need to add DNS record. It's an NS type record, so it's going to be NS, yeah, to root DNS zone. Not great at typing today. So resource, yeah, Azure RM underscore DNS, and here we go, NS record, yeah. IntelliSense helps me out, and I can just call it here root to global, yeah, because this one is called global DNS. So what do I need to add here inside of this resource? Well, first of all, I need to add the name. And if we look at local variables, you'll see that I have the DNS name here, but I will only need this to be the name of the NS record that I'm creating. So I need to do some magic on this string right here. So first of all, local dot DNS name, yeah, but this will wield this result. So I want to extract only barbart out of this string. So I need to do a split. Split is a function, yeah. So I will call split. And for this function, you need to give the separator. In our case, the separator is the dot. So I will separate by dot. And I need a comma here, yeah. So I will need to separate by dot local DNS name. Now this will transform this string right here into an array with 3 strings, this one, and this one. And now I'll need to get the first one. So I will need to use another function, which is called element of, and then I need to give the position that I want. So the first one is the string that I want. Position in the array will be 0. So this will only take out barbart out of the full string, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Then I will need the zone name, and this is going to be data.name, yeah. So I'm taking the name of the data block that I created here, and this is exactly why I'm using the data block. Then we're going to need the resource group name of that zone, and we can also use data.resource group name. Okay. Time to live, let's put 300 seconds, so this will be 5 minutes. And then records, and for this one I'm just going to use a property of this object right here. So it's going to be Azure RM DNS zone dot global DNS dot, and there you go, IntelliSense to the rescue. We have name servers right here. Okay, so apart from creating my previous 3 resources, which we added in the previous video, which is the resource group, the container registry, and the subdomain or the child DNS zone, I will now, in the root DNS zone, create a record which should link my child to its parent. And then this will be done automatically by Terraform. I don't need to do anything manually outside of the Terraform run. It's time to test our code right now. So Terraform init first of all. Okay, this is all fine, and Terraform, I'm going to do apply, and let's just do apply. I don't want to auto approve it, which means it will ask me for my confirmation during the run, and that's fine. First I want to see what the output of the plan is. Okay, so first it's going to make some computations, and Terraform will decide what changes are going to happen and what infrastructure is going to be created. I will look at those changes, and if I agree with them, I'm going to type yes, enter, and then everything will be created just as we want it. So as you can see here, plan 4 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy, and you can see here there will be a resource group, and that's fine. Then we have a global DNS zone, and that's also fine. Then you have a container registry, and you also have the newest resource that we just added today, which is the name server type record called root to global, and everything is fine. Everything will be known after apply. And I like this output, so I'm going to say yes, go ahead and do this for me. One eternity later. And there we have it. Everything is completed. All the resources are created. Let's see how this looks like in the portal. So right here, let's go home, and I'm going to zoom in a bit. If we go to resource groups, you'll see global_rg. This is the resource group that Terraform created for us. If we enter it, we'll see our container registry and our child DNS zone, which is exactly what we're looking for. Now, let's see if the newest addition to the code worked. And if I go to home and DNS zones and open the root one, which is shiki.ro, you will indeed see that I have a NS type record called barbart, which has these name servers in here. And if you just look at the value and keep it in mind, and we go to the child, these are the same name servers as the child has. But there's even a better way to check if this worked. I can create a record in my child zone. So I'm going to add test, and I'm not typing, there we go, test. It's going to be an A record, and let's say 10.9.9.9. Let's say that IP address is the one. I'm creating the record, and now the record was successfully created. You can see this check mark right here next to me. And I'm going to open PowerShell, clear out the screen, and let's do ns lookup test.barbart.shiki.ro. And there you have it. The answer is 10.9.9.9, which is exactly the A record that we created. And this means, without a doubt, that our child DNS zone is linked to its parent, or the root DNS zone, shiki.ro. So now we've automated this through Terraform, and I'm going to go ahead and delete these resources because I don't want them to cost me money. But that's it for today, guys. If you're still here, thank you for giving me your full attention. As I mentioned previously, please follow along. This is the best way to understand how a data block works and write your own if you need them. And I'll see you in the next video when we will work even more with Terraform and implement new resources that we need, including our AKS cluster. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you then. Cheers.